Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Kyle Welch, Larry Diaz, and Latasha Allen. Thank you guys so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. I know I say the same thing every day, but it's true. So, you know, it's an oldie but a goodie. So thank you guys again so much. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, like Kyle, Larry, and Latasha, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Okay, so when we left off yesterday, they had just had the power veto ceremony. Tommy used the POV on Christy, and Jackson put up Cliff in her place. So that means it's Cliff versus Jess on the block, and as of right now, Jess will be leaving on Thursday, along with someone else. Ah! It is a double eviction this week. I'm so excited. Okay, so Christy and Jess are in the kitchen, and Christy is trying to give Jess instructions for how she can campaign and stay this week. Because of course, Christy and Tommy want Jess to stay. She is a number for them. It makes more sense for them to keep her than to keep Cliff. But they're gonna need another vote to pull this off because there are only 5 people voting, and if they can't get 3, that means that Jackson would be breaking the tie, and they know that Jackson wants to keep Cliff this week. So Christy is telling Jess there's still hope. You're gonna have to pitch something and be a deal girl. And she's like, I know that's not who you are. And Jess says, yeah, that's not who I am. Well, you better make that who you are, because you're about to be juror number 5. So you're just gonna sit there and do nothing, right? So she says she does want to stay, but she wants Jackson to go, and she can't say that to people because Jackson is potentially the tiebreaker this week. So she doesn't really know how to go about campaigning. You could lie? I don't know. So Christy says, this is what you gotta do. You're gonna have to pitch to Jackson that you're gunning for the HOH this week, or next week, whatever. And you're gonna say that you're gonna target me or Tommy, but then you're gonna throw the HOH competition to me, and I'm gonna take out Jackson. So anyway, Christy says, I'm not telling you what to do, but that's your only shot to stay, pretty much. So that, which is not true, but that's what Christy says. So Christy explains how Jackson and Holly are trying to play the middle. It's really messed up. She wants to take him out. And Jess is like, that's like a great plan and all, but then what would I be pitching to you guys? Like to you and Tommy? What? Okay, so I'm not sure if she meant like actually what would I be pitching to you guys for you to want to keep me, or if she meant like what am I gonna tell people that I'm pitching to you guys if they ask. Because obviously if she's saying that Christy or Tommy are her target, they're gonna be like, oh well, what are you telling Christy or Tommy? And she'll be like, So I don't know if that's what she meant, but it almost sounded like she really just meant like, what am I gonna pitch to you and Tommy? Hello, they're trying to keep you. I think they're convinced you don't need to pitch to them. So Christy was like, you don't have to. So Jess is like, well, Nicole did tell me that she's having a hard time deciding this week and she's not really sure what she's gonna do. That's Nicole any week. She always says that. So she thinks maybe Nicole could be swayed to keep her. And Christy says, wow, that's great, because if you can get Nicole, you don't even have to go to Jackson and Holly. You'll have the 3 votes, Nicole, Christy, and Tommy. I don't think any of this is gonna work, but it should be a fun ride, so we'll see what happens. So then Cliff and Nicole are talking in the kitchen, and he says that Jackson, Tommy, and Christy have all already promised to keep him. Holly has too. I don't know why he didn't mention her in this list. Maybe he meant like Jackson and Holly. But Nicole says, you know, obviously I'm also voting to keep you, but I haven't told Jess that yet. So she lets him know. She's telling Jess that she's still thinking about it, but that's not the case. So then Cliff assumes, you know, Jess is probably going to try and offer deals to people. I don't know how that's going to go over. And Nicole says, you know what? When I talked to her, she was saying that she didn't even want to bother campaigning, and she's not the kind of player to make deals. And she said that she has nothing to offer people. So Cliff is saying, okay, cool. He also said that he feels pretty good about Tommy using the veto this week. Like, obviously it sucks that he went up as the replacement nominee, but he feels pretty confident that he'll have the votes to stay. And he's saying, you know what, if Tommy didn't use the veto, that would be pretty bad news for us, because that would probably mean that Tommy is working really closely with Jackson and Holly, and he was fine with just going along with their original nominations. So he feels like that would have been kind of scary, so he's glad in a way that Tommy did save Christy. So then Nicole is telling Cliff about her hammock conversation with Tommy. That was the convo where they compared notes and they basically confirmed with each other that Jackson and Holly are trying to play both duos and just skate to the end while the other two go after each other. So she's like, yeah, Tommy said he feels like there are people that are trying to play the middle who are good with both sides. And Cliff says, well, that could be about any of the duos. Stop! You know that he's talking about Jackson and Holly. Oh my god, why would he say that to Nicole if he was talking about Nicole and Cliff? Or himself and Christy? No! Come on. So Nicole's like, I don't know, I'm kind of worried that Jackson and Holly are playing us. And Cliff said, well, I mean, like, to be fair, Cliff and Nicole are Jackson and Holly's true Final Four. They do want to go to the Final Four with them, but they would be willing to throw competitions and just let Tommy and Christy take them out. So, you know, if Holly were to win this HOH, yeah, I think she would probably go after Tommy and Christy, but they are trying to play both sides. So Cliff says, well, I talked to Christy, and she said that everybody seems to think that they are working with Jackson and Holly. So it's pretty much the same thing that Tommy was talking about with Nicole. Yeah. Okay, put the pieces together. Hello. So Cliff and Nicole are both wondering, would the other two duos go after each other? Like, could we play the middle? And honestly, out of the three couples, I feel like Nicole and Cliff would definitely have the best chance of using that strategy and just skating through the middle, because they are, let's be real, like the weakest of the duos. So everybody wants to go to the finals with them. But Jackson and Holly are the ones that are trying to actually play the middle, which is crazy because they're big targets. So they're wondering, ooh, should we throw the next HOH and just let that happen? Let the other two duos go after each other? But they agree that that's a little bit too big of a risk to take. They just have to try and win it because they don't want to ruin everything this late in the game. So Cliff is saying, you know what, I would rather be up against Jackson and Holly moving forward than Christy and Tommy. Because yeah, Jackson and Holly can beat us in physical comps, but he's hoping they'd be able to beat them in mental competitions. And he says, you know what, if we can't win those mental comps, maybe we just don't deserve it. Ouch. I mean, I guess I see what he's saying, but at the same time, I feel like Jackson has won competitions that you wouldn't expect him to win. And then I feel like Christy and Tommy, they've been pretty good throughout. I mean, they've won stuff, but I don't feel like they're as solid as Jackson and Holly in competitions. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but that's just my feeling. So I really think that, I know some of you guys hate when I give my opinions, but whatever. I think that Cliff and Nicole should move forward with Christy and Tommy. I also really want to see, like, them take out Jackson and Holly just because they thought they could play the middle, and now the two sides are going to be like, no, you can't. You know what I mean? I just think that would be enjoyable to watch. But that's just, again, my opinion. So a few minutes later, Jackson and Nicole were chatting, and Jackson says, we've got the votes this week. But I just want to let you know that Tommy is already pushing really hard to keep Jess. He says, I'm really scared of Christy and Tommy going into next week. And you should be. So then Holly joins them. And Nicole says, well, Tommy told me earlier that Cliff is probably going to be staying this week. But he also said, if Cliff does go, don't worry, don't freak out, because I'll have your back. So that's making her a little bit nervous that there's even a chance of an if in there that Cliff could be leaving. So Holly's like, yeah, I think Tommy and Christy are going to push really hard for Cliff to go this week, and that scares her. But it's going to be okay because they have the votes anyway. You know, they've got Nicole, they've got Holly, and then Jackson just needs to break the tie. So Jackson is saying it'll be 3 versus 2 in the next HOH competition. So they just have to make sure that one of them wins HOH, or else they are effed. Okay, so I'm kind of under the impression that Nicole is thinking maybe she wants to move forward with Tommy and Christy over Holly and Jackson, but Cliff seems dead set on sticking with Holly and Jackson. So I haven't really heard Cliff and Nicole talk about this one-on-one for very long. So like they haven't really gone in depth with this yet. So who knows what could happen if they do that. But at this point it seems like Cliff is making the decision, we're sticking with Holly and Jackson for now. Okay, so I just feel like Nicole, Cliff, Tommy, and Christy really need to, all 4 of them, get together at one time and really compare notes instead of like dancing around things and just saying like, I think there are 2 people that may be playing the middle. Like, no, they need to lay it all out there, but I don't know if they're ever gonna actually do that. So then Holly and Jackson were chatting alone a little later, and they're trying to decide who they should target next, Christy or Tommy. Who's the bigger threat? So Holly would like to target Christy. She says she feels a lot more loyal to Tommy. They definitely have a closer relationship than she does with Christy. So Jackson says, yeah, but is Tommy super loyal to us? I don't know. He thinks that Tommy would be way more likely than Christy to pick Cliff or Nicole over them. You know, Tommy's got pretty good relationships with Cliff and Nicole. Christy, not as much. So I think Jackson also realizes that Tommy would pick Holly over him. And I think he's thinking that Christy might pick him over Holly, which I don't know that that's the case, but he seems to think that. So I'm sure he's trying to make sure that he would be guaranteed to go to the end. Obviously, why wouldn't you? But Holly is like, okay, well, let's go over jury votes. You know, who do we have a better chance against if we take one of these 2 to the final 2? So Jackson says both of us would beat Tommy and Christy. Would you though? He seemed really confident. So Jackson says Christy has been riding coattails. Like, yeah, she won the first HOH, and then what? So he's like, what has she done truly? I don't know, like, basically ran the first half of the game, got what she wanted during Cliff's HOH without using her activity power, pulled off one of the biggest flips ever to keep herself safe. She's pulled off some really, really big, like, iconic moves. And the cherry on top, she's done all this without freaking Jackson even realizing how amazingly she's been playing. So Jackson says she's good with her words, but what has she done in the game? So Jackson also says Nick is on our side in the jury, and he is the type of person that would be able to really influence the jury and make sure that they want us to win. And Jackson also says, there are a lot of gems in this conversation. Jackson says he feels like Cliff is the only person who can beat them. And that's only if the jury is voting emotionally. So he says, you know, game-wise, Cliff hasn't done anything since day 30. Jackson obviously only cares about competition wins because, I mean, Cliff was evicted and came back. And I can't. So I feel like if you are evicted that early and you make it all the way to the end, that says something about you as a player. But whatever. It's just funny that Jackson puts so much emphasis on, like, winning competitions and making big moves. Like, yeah, he's won a bunch of comps, but he's been HOH twice now. The first time he got rid of Sis, and now he's trying to get rid of Jess? What? Okay, so anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think? If you were on the jury, what type of gameplay would you vote for in the end? Like, who do you think out of everybody that's left would you be voting for? Okay, let me know. So later, Big Brother / Pop TV set up a Labor Day celebration for the house guests. They got the grill, food, beer and wine, and Nicole's face was so funny when they first went outside and they like opened the sliding door. She was just like, it was so funny. So they were really excited about it. Everybody was enjoying. Jackson was over seasoning all the food. It was a lot of pepper. A lot of pranks going on last night. Shoes in the freezer. Gross condiments in drinks. Jackson put bags of whipped cream in people's pillows so that when they put their heads on it, it would like squirt out. Ew. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. Not much game though. So today, nothing earth-shattering so far. I think today Tommy and Christy are probably going to try and come up with a plan to save Jess, because we've seen that Jess is probably not going to come up with her own plan to do that. But it seems like they're going to focus first on trying to get Nicole's vote, because if they get Nicole, they don't need Jackson and Holly. But then if it doesn't work out with Nicole, I'm sure they will try to get Jackson and Holly. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what they come up with. But we've got 2 days left until the eviction. I'm guessing tomorrow is going to be the big campaign day when Jess and Cliff make their rounds. It seems like that's what's been happening this season for the most part. So that's where we're at right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about all this. And until next time, much love.